Hi, and welcome to this week's English lesson. My name is Alex, the founder and developer of Phrase It, the English language card game that helps you practice phrasal verbs in a fun way. I also believe that if you improve your English, it will change your life and you'll probably get a better job. So, today's lesson, we're going to talk about three should, could, and would. Three words in English: should, could, and would with not. So how do we say this in English? Well, I created a new card game called Contraction Action. It's not available yet, but we'll get to practice that. So here we are. Shouldn't comes from should not. Should not, shouldn't. So when I use this word in English, I'll use it with the verb have, and sometimes I'll say shouldn't have. We shouldn't have gone fishing because there was a lot of mosquitoes. Or we could say, I shouldn't have eaten so much for dinner because now I feel really sick to my stomach. So it's used as a conditional. Shouldn't have. We often use that frequently. But let's listen and say, shouldn't have. And when I say quickly, it's shouldn't have. Or we might say, I shouldn't have stayed up so late. Now I have a headache when you wake up in the morning. However, if you drink a glass of water, a full glass of water in the morning right away, it will help you with health, your overall health. But shouldn't, right? We might say something else like, I shouldn't drive without a seatbelt. It's not safe to do that. So, but that's how we pronounce it and use shouldn't have. It refers to something in the past that happened, and it's my idea of, well, if I would have done this instead, I might feel better, but I shouldn't have done this action or that action, and that's how we use shouldn't have. The next one is couldn't, and that's couldn't, or could not. Couldn't, could not. And we use this one for potential situations, or it's also like the ability has been removed. Like it comes from can, like can, could, and we'll say I can do this, I could do this if, and that's a condition. It means it's a situation. I don't know. Maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. This though is usually a condition in the past that I couldn't have done. So an example might be, I couldn't have coffee because I have an ulcer. For like a detective situation, you can say, I couldn't have been there because I was over here. And so if someone's asking, where were you? I couldn't have been there because I was with my friends here. I wasn't over there. So that could be a potential situation about something in the past that happened but didn't happen. Does that make sense? So it's something in the past that maybe happened but couldn't have happened. So we could also say something like out of need, not need, out of necessity, or out of this action, because of this, I can't do this. So like I said, because I have an ulcer, I couldn't have coffee. Or because I ate too much food, I couldn't eat breakfast, right? Or we could say something else like, because my car broke down, I couldn't get to work on time. Because, and we usually use like the reason why, because, couldn't. And we'll often say have, I couldn't have. And we say it really fast, just like the first one I told you, shouldn't. So let's review those two for pronunciation. Couldn't, shouldn't, couldn't have, shouldn't have. And it's interesting because when I say this in American English quickly, I almost sound like I'm saying the letters UV, like of or couldn't have. It's very fast. But if you slow down, we'll say couldn't have, shouldn't have. But in fast English conversation, you're going to hear the of sound. So couldn't have. Say that with me. Couldn't have. Shouldn't have. So the H is almost silent. It's almost like gv. We just go to the v sound. Shouldn't have, couldn't have, couldn't have, shouldn't have. Do you hear the difference? Say it one more time. Couldn't have, shouldn't have. The last one is wouldn't. Wouldn't. It's also, in English, it's a big word. We use this for hypothetical situations. So listen and say, wouldn't have, wouldn't have. And we might say, well, I wouldn't have gone there if you didn't make me go. Well, nobody makes you go anywhere, to be honest. But I have these conversations with my children, and they say, he made me go here. She made me do this. He made me go here. And I say, well, that wouldn't have happened if you would have listened to mommy and daddy, right? So we might say things like this. The children wouldn't have gotten hurt if they would have listened to mom and dad. Or the children wouldn't have felt sick if they didn't eat too much candy, or something like that. Or we wouldn't have gotten in trouble if we paid money for a campsite. So my family goes camping in the summer, and it's hypothetical, but we didn't get in trouble because we paid money for the campsite. But wouldn't have, and that's would not, wouldn't, would not. And this one is wouldn't have is like an if situation too. In a situation in the past, something happened in the past, and it didn't happen if I did this or that. So it's also a conditional situation. I wouldn't have eaten that new food had I known it would make me sick. I'm talking a lot about food today. Maybe I'm hungry, maybe I'm not, but that's that one, wouldn't have. Or we might say, I wouldn't have been late if my car didn't have a flat tire. Wouldn't have been late because my car had a flat tire. So I couldn't get to work on time. So that's something that you might do. So let's review all of these again. Wouldn't have, couldn't have, shouldn't have. One more time. Wouldn't have, couldn't have, shouldn't have. And these all come from the contraction game, Contraction Action. It's not available yet, but it will be soon. So please keep following me here on YouTube. You can even click the links below and subscribe for my email list so you will be notified when I do release this game so you can have fun matching your contractions. So kids and adults learning English can take this card and this card and find them on the table and match the two words. Wouldn't, would not. Couldn't, could not. Shouldn't, should not. And it's very fun for you to improve and practice your English. All right, that's it for this week's lesson. Click the video here, watch this one or this one, and I'll see you in another lesson.